Okay, I will call the meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Neil Harden. I'm chairing today's panel. With me is Marla Billinghurst to my immediate left and Brent McIntyre to my far left. The assessor today is Ryan Valderrama and the recording secretary is Katie Sutherland. We will be hearing an application for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application and will limit discussion to those matters. The statements of the applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed and recorded and will be part of the public record. So could you do this one?
State your name.
Ryan Valderrama.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can affirm or you can swear.
I'll affirm.
Okay, stand. Please state your name.
Roselle Shikandra.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item on today's delayed docket is 386 Selkirk Avenue. So you may, and the idea, the matter is assessed value. So you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first property has a file number of 19-120. It has a roll number of 140-101-95000. It is located at 386 Selkirk Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020 using reference date of April 1st, 2018. We have it assessed at $696,000. It has a classification of an institutional property and taxable school exempt.
That's 40S.
Yes, that's correct. It has 2 stories of 1 section, an effective year built of 2012. It is zoned as C2 community or commercial community. It has a land area of 2,815 square feet, a planned area of 1,680 square feet, and a gross floor area of 5,040 square feet. On page 3 is the one above is the aerial photo of the subject property. At the bottom is the map of where the subject property is. And on page 4 are some land sale comparables. We have 3. These are all zoned C2 or commercial community. And they're all ranging from $12.38 up to $15.88 per square foot. And at the bottom of that page is the map of the comparable land sales. On page 5, we have assessed the property under the cost methodology. The land valuation, we have it assessed at a net area of 2,815 square feet using the net rate of $9.95 per square foot, giving it a land value of $28,000. On the building side, has a building value after depreciation of $668,000, giving it a total value under cost methodology of $696,000. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Do you have any questions of the assessor? Okay, Brent, questions of the assessor?
No questions. Thank you,
Alan?
sir.
No questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just have a question. The cost approach doesn't take into account the location. Aside from the land value, I guess it would be accounted in there somewhat. But-
Yes, the land, yes.
But, I mean, the same building wouldn't matter if it's on Park Boulevard or Selkirk Avenue. The cost would be the same. Should there be adjustments made for location other than the land price?
Other than the land price, in my opinion, there shouldn't, because the construction, the cost of construction to build is almost the same wherever it is in the city. The cost of materials and the cost of labor. I'm not sure where it would vary in terms of, or how it would vary in terms of location-wise. However, if we look at materials, cost of materials and cost of labor, they're pretty much standard as of April 1st, 2018, of course.
Yeah, yes, I would agree on the cost approach, but let's face it, if you're gonna sell it, you're selling a property on Selkirk Avenue.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair, and I understand the concern on that one. However, from my point of view, I think it would appear that the difference would be, as mentioned, on the land value. I think that's where it may be adjusted for, as location-wise.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
You can proceed with your presentation.
Great, okay. So I'm the board chair for the North End Women's Center, and we're a nonprofit, community-based organization. We provide services and supports to women and their families living in the North End, and we've been in the community since 1984. We currently own 4 properties along Selkirk. So if you look at the diagram on the photo on number 3, we have 382, 384, 386 there at the parking lot, and then 394 is in there. And we're also in the process of consolidating these 4 properties, and we have a DASSF number for 2019 as well there. So the space at 386 is used for our addictions and housing support program. We have the main floor has a kitchen, shared living space, office space, and the basement has some program space and a kitchen. And the top floor are 6 transitional housing units, which are available to our clients. The rent for the 6 units is maintained at the lowest possible level, and we seldom have full vacancy because of the transition times between bringing folks in. So we're not a revenue generating operation at all. So we were, the previous year, 2019, we were assessed at $645. This year, we are, for 2020, assessed at $696. So that's an increase of $51,000. We don't see any increased value in terms of the resale value of the property. When we built the building, we experienced a lot of challenges with flooding and seepage in the basement, lots of ongoing repairs, so we know that if we were to resell the building, we would have to declare that, and the building certainly wouldn't go for market value. There would have to be a reduction there as well. Also, we just see that we're on Selkirk Avenue. We know we're in a very low income area. There's a lot of vacant buildings around us. There's so we don't see that the resale or the value of the property is increasing as we go along. We're kind of doing our best to maintain. We're a strong presence in the community with our four spaces going there as well. And also we're in a really high crime area. We've had numerous break-ins to our properties, especially over this last year with related to the meth crisis in the city, so our insurance rates keep going up, and in addition to be assessed at such a big increase for this year, it just puts more hardship on a nonprofit that's working hard to make a difference in the community.
Is that your presentation? Do you have any questions?
I have no questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Brent, do you have any questions?
What did it cost you to build a building in 2012?
I don't have that information with me.
That's fine.
We could certainly get it. It was a long process. We had some challenges. The contractor at the time quit halfway through, and we had to then reassemble the construction. It changed our budget, and we had to make a lot of concessions with the building to get it up and going. So I know that, but we could certainly get those numbers for you if you need them for your
No, that's fine.
consideration.
Is that it, Brent?
Yes.
Marla, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I just want to get a better feel for the property. You said there were living areas on the upper floor?
So we have suites that are transitional housing for women coming out of addiction treatment. And so they are, they're not permanent, it's not permanent housing. Women stay there for 6 months to 12 months. So there's always a lot of churn where we only claim the EI rates for those suites. And it's a supervised living space, so we have staff 24/7 who are providing support to the women who are living in those units, because often it's the first time they've experienced independent living.
Okay, so on the lower floor, then there's,
We have a kitchen space, living room space. Women prepare meals together, they're learning life skills. The counselors and staff also have offices there, and in the basement we also have a community kitchen and some other program area space. So we do a lot of counseling, workshops, and groups out of the space as well.
okay. All right, I guess this gives me a question with respect to the valuation. It's kind of like, I don't know, rent geared to income properties in many respects. Why the cost approach?
It's more inclined to a group care home instead of a rent geared to income. Just like co-ops, if you're alluding to that. The co-ops, housing co-ops, they get a consistent income, which is just below the market. That's how we see it in our income approach. While a group care home is more of, that's why it's a cost approach, because it has a limited market in terms of if you sell the property and they know that it was a group care home. Most probably the buyers might be from the same industry, which is a group care home, or a nursing home, or personal care home. So a rent geared to income properties are more of an apartment, more to the apartment side because of the income that they generate, which is not the market income per se, an average market income, but below market income. So that's why this one is more geared towards the cost approach instead of an income approach.
Okay, but I'm thinking also of the sort of 55 plus seniors residences where they have basically small residences that may or may not have a full kitchen, but then kitchen and living in common area facilities.
Those ones. Yeah, I'm not sure how that one would compare to this one. However, these ones, or this one, I can't really see the relation on the 55 plus compared to I should say client,
I
but
guess my thought
case,
was that
yes.
you have the living areas, then
Mm.
you have separate kitchen, living room, common areas sort of thing
yes.
in those properties. So that's, and they're valued like apartments. So.
can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
Sorry, just to get a better understanding, the apartments you have upstairs, do they have kitchens and living areas, or is it mainly just like a
It's
bedroom?
mostly, like, it's a bedroom, there's, shared bathrooms, so they're more like a bedroom living space. The cooking space and everything
That's all done
is
communally downstairs? Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so
I have one more.
Yes, sir.
Is this considered a special purpose building?
I would say yes.
what value then do you think you should have on it?
We'd be very happy to retain the same value that we were assessed at 2019, at the $645.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. I guess with that, then we're done on this property. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And so for next steps for us, we wait to hear.
Yeah, it'll appear within, I don't know, what's the turnaround these days? Must be longer than
Usually about a week.
about a week.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for your patience.
Well, it's that kind of day, I think everyone's got to count it down, eh?
Yeah.
Is Mr. Newfeld there? All right, we will reconvene. The next item on the docket is 440 River Road. So you can proceed.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just a preliminary, I didn't receive any evidence, so I'm just,
There was a mix-up. Altus had contacted me and they said they were filing this, and for the owner, I'm here for the tenant liable, and then I found out they didn't file, so we thought they were doing it. So all we're limited to do is to rebuttal, and that's fine.
Okay, fine, we'll just do rebuttal then. You can proceed.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
But I did call Ryan yesterday.
Yes.
And let him know,
Yeah.
and told him what I was gonna say.
The next one has a file number of 19-4444. It has a roll number of 08020976700. It is located at 440 River Road. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020 using reference date of April 1st, 2018. There are 3 assessments on this one for a total of $18,660,000. The first one is a 40T taxable. It has an assessed value of $6,439,000. The second one is a 40S or school exempt. It has an assessed value of $11,757,000. And the third one is assessed at with a classification of 40 and liability of exempt, which is assessed at $464,000. Has 1 to 4 stories and effective years built of 1940 to 2002. Has a zoning of residential single family medium, a land area of 746,325 square feet, a planned area of 94,848 square feet, and a gross floor area of 255,532 square feet.
Sorry, I didn't have a chance to go back to the office to get my brief. Is there a spare I can read from and not make any marks on? Thanks. Sorry.
And on page 3 is the photo on top. It's an aerial photo of the subject property. And at the bottom is the map of where it is located. And on page 4 is the cost summary of the different building sections into property. On page 5 is the land sale comparables, and there are 4, and they have varying zoning. The zonings are res multifamily, C3 convene or commercial corridor, I should say, sorry, M1 or manufacturing light and residential multifamily. So they're all ranging from range of $3.63 up to $20.82 per square foot. Page 6 to page 7 are some of the cost valuation. And on page 8 to page 9 are the excerpts from Municipal Assessment Act pertaining to the property. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do you have questions?
Yes. On page 6, the land valuation, just want to understand, number 1, 40 exempt, what is the exemption for? Is there a daycare or something?
40 exempt, it is a daycare.
Okay. And line 3, 40 school exempt, what is the exemption for?
If we go to page 7, it's under Municipal Assessment Act Section 23(1)E. On page 9, it's indicating it's owned by or held in trust for and is used by a charitable organization primarily for the purpose of giving relief or assistance to aged, indigent, and or sick persons.
Okay, so it's for relief, okay. And then the 40, middle line, 40T, that's the remainder of the land?
That's correct.
And what do they do on this site? Do you know?
It's the Saint Man. No, I'm not sure what's in it. All I know is based on the exemption, it's giving relief to aged, indigent, or sick persons.
Likely as a group care facility, as you state on your first page?
Yes.
Are you aware that it also has a school that for teaching differently abled people and those with autism?
Would that fall under the daycare or no?
No, that's an actual seminary of learning?
No.
Okay. And in order to do your valuation of the land, the comparables you have here, 1 to 4, are any of them group care or schools?
These are all vacant land during the sale.
But are any of them sold or between schools or to be used as schools, anything of the sort?
I don't have that information.
Well, 1926 McGilvery, I'll put it to you, is being developed for multifamily, correct?
As zoned as residential multifamily.
400 Northtown has now been developed with a shopping center, there's a Save On Foods in there?
Correct.
Okay. And then I'm not really sure about Lajimodier, but, and then it appears to be industrial, but number 4 says that it's multifamily.
Correct.
You aware that, oh, sorry, back up. This property was assessed under the cost approach, correct?
Yes, it is.
You aware that application of the cost approach requires valuation of the land as the highest and best use as determined by the improvement thereon?
We value it as highest and best use, whether it is vacant or not, whatever's in there right now.
No, but the cost approach, the background of the cost approach is when you're applying the cost approach, you're required to use the sale of a land that has the same use as the subject in order to find your land value is vacant. Are you aware that that's a requirement of the cost approach?
I'm not familiar with that approach.
Well,
that kind of statement.
right.
No.
And the highest and best use of this property is what?
It's the current use right now.
Current use. And just mathematically, the rate that's applied to the land, I just wanna, I guess I think better on a per acre basis. Make sure we're on the same page. You have 1027 a square foot.
Yes, that's correct.
So that would be 447,000 per acre.
That's about right.
Okay. Are other properties in the city that are community support such as this assessed in the same manner?
Under cost approach?
Yes, are they valued under the cost approach?
Yes, there are some group care homes that are assessed under a cost approach.
And do properties with other properties in the city that have a highest and best use that's been established as community care, such as hospitals, schools, group care, nursing home, do they have their land valued on the basis of not considering the improvement or considering the improvement to determine the land value? Or do you know?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. I'm just establishing the range for my rebuttal. Those are my questions, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brent, any questions?
No questions.
Marlon?
No questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
No questions. I'm sorry I didn't look at the title page to, the covered page to start with, but there's also liability and classification being appealed on this property. So you would have the burden on the liability and classification.
Right, and I didn't introduce evidence, so I'm introducing it in rebuttal, which is why I asked the assessor a question on it. So I can still proceed on it, I simply can't bring it up unless it's already been brought up, right?
Well, I had him just go on the valuation, not on the liability.
Well, no, I asked him about the school thing, and he said he didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be long, don't worry about it.
okay.
I spent my time in there this morning, and I don't wanna go back there.
No, I'm just wondering, because, I mean, the avenue for appeal on liability is to the courts, so.
Yes,
If we don't have any evidence to change liability, then.
Yes, I understand that, and I don't think it's a liability issue, I think it's just class and value. And the question would be, I asked the assessor, what was the reason for the 40T, and he referenced the act, but 40T is, I'm looking for a change of value within 40T and 40S, so it's just a value issue, basically, when it comes down to it. We're not looking at another style of exemption, just the value within.
But if it's changing pieces of the property from 40S to 40E or something
No,
like
it's,
that.
well, no, just the value within that particular class. We are not looking at introducing a new class. That would be a liability, that's still class.
But if you're
though.
changing the classification on a piece of the property, or liability on the piece of the property, doesn't matter if it's that already exists on a different portion of that property, it's still changing the liability on a portion of the property.
No, well, not the ones that I've been involved with. Typically, what I've seen is if you had everything, for example, class 60, and you wanted it to change the class, you would appeal, you need to have a class. But if you have, say, a split that's a 60 and then a 10, for example, and you wanted the numbers changed, you only need an appeal on value, because you're not looking for a new class. And we're not looking for a new class. And the liability thing, I don't even know if anyone even uses liability. That would be more like if you were looking for a full exemption based on the Act, Section 22 of the Act, and we're not.
Well,
I talked it over with Jamie, who couldn't make it today, and because we messed up. Well, we didn't mess up. I'm blaming Altus for everything, but I said it very quietly. But we thought they were doing this. I'll let you be the judge and you can make a
Yeah,
decision.
we'll discuss it in town.
Okay, so this is rebuttal, we're finished with the questions.
Okay, I guess, did we question the assessor?
We didn't have questions.
No questions.
No, okay, all right. I'm a little confused, Friday afternoon.
It's been an unusual afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So really, the issue here is on the pages, the second page and the ones that follow are description of what goes on at St. Amand Center. And it's clear on reading this that we offer effective programs for children with autism and for families who care for an individual. It's called the St. Amand School and River Road Child Care and the St. Amand Research Center. So it's obviously a seminary of learning, as well as being a group care facility.
What page are you on?
The second page, inside of the page, the large paragraph.
Second page, this one here? Or this one?
No, yeah, that one you're holding up there. And paging forward, the next pages, which would, I guess, would be 4 and 5, starts with complex care residence. So there's a residence, and this is the group care portion. On the other side of the page, it talks about knowledge, translation, and education. So we didn't have the opportunity to take our statements and affidavits, and like I said, Jamie Mercury had already a court case he was engaged in. Also, we have it, and I didn't have time to page it, there's a letter written from MLT Aikens, a few pages down, MLT Aikens letterhead, and this is in regard to 910 Wall Street. 910 Wall Street is a satellite operation of St. Amand that provides education for children with autism. And you can see from the communication that an application for a change in the class was made and granted as a school. So that particular unit received a school tax exemption. It's the same service they do at the main branch. So basically what we're saying here is that there's a group care function and a school function. The exemption for, the limit for the class 40 for group care is 2 acres. The limit for education is 4 acres. Now, under the cost approach, and as we went through yesterday in so much painful detail, these exemptions are applied cumulatively rather than an either-or situation. And that's the way all the facilities we dealt with yesterday were dealt with. For example, Riverview has a 10-acre for hospital and then another 2 acres for the PCH on it, and for a total exempt area of 12 acres. So what we're looking for is to change that exemption from a 2-acre limit to a 6-acre limit, based on that it's school. I did ask this question, so I think I can treat this in rebuttal. The proper appraisal method is, because this admitted to be valued as it is, which is as St. Amand Center, the valuation of the land can't be from an apartment or a retail store. It has to be from the use that's been established as the highest and best use, which means the land value must come from sales between parties offering community services. And those are actually quite rare to find, and I'm racking my brain to think of ones that I could remember. And there's, for example, some schools that changed hands between a school division and a private school. That would be one, except they have a building on them. So if one could extract the building value, that would give us an indication of land value. Other than that, the purchase by a charity of land on the market doesn't qualify for that because you're competing against the normal market. The highest and best use must, and I had all this ready to bring, and then I got stuck in that hearing, and I had the 12 pages of handouts, which now you have the extreme fortune of not having to read, but I am under oath. No, I'm not.
No, he's not.
Oh, swear him in. Sorry about that.
Affirm.
Okay. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do,
Thank you.
as was what I've said previously.
Good.
With the snow and everything, I got in the office at 6 this morning and I printed it all up and I had it all ready to bring. But basically that's the theory when you're doing the cost approach. Because the cost approach is all about, you can't value a property on land that's being, for a different purpose. And the other thing about this is if you have a special use property, the highest and best use, when it's been improved, has to be for that specific use. So to find a value for this land requires you to do that, and there's a real lack of market information. Now this is where I cross the line, so you can disregard it or deal with it as you wish. But what I did is we found several properties that have been assessed on the basis of their special uses, and they're presented with the assessments and the amounts per acre. And I'm quite limited as to what I can argue, and I understand that. Obviously, we're of the opinion that $447,000 an acre is a little bit on the high side. Yesterday, we had a very interesting property, Riverview, which is palliative care, hospital, personal care home, etc. Much like this, on the river with a buffer between it and the river, the assessment per acre was $233,000. We had that confirmed, just to enter it in the record that that was an acceptable number for an educational or an institution, and they're also done on the cost approach. So my opinion in rebuttal is that the amount of land under 40T be changed by 174,240 square feet, moving that amount from 40T into 40S. And I don't have the Municipal Assessment Act with me, but it is a seminary of learning. It's 1.6 hectares, which is 4 acres. It's 23 something or other, but you.
What was the number you had? How many square feet?
174,240. Just to move from 40T into 40S. And we are requesting a value of
How many acres is that?
4 acres. Yeah, they've got 2 now. Actually, 87,120 is 2. I don't know why they got 88,066. Maybe it was a bonus. But regardless, I mean, we don't want, it's basically 2 acres for the school, for the group care, and 4 acres. In other properties, in years past, I was always told, no, it's one or the other. But yesterday, because the cost approach has been applied, there's different uses on it, and same here, there's 3 uses here. That's what was done. So I don't know if guidance is required on that, or if I had known this before yesterday, before Kara told me, I would have had a bigger, longer talk with Brian Dupuy on this, just to see what would be the right way to deal with this. And I don't think that there's going to be an issue on the concept of that this is a school and a group care. I think the issue is going to be, is it 4 acres or 6 acres? What we saw yesterday would say 6 acres, and I don't know, that's why I gave Ryan a call yesterday to see if he had any guidance from his, the assessor on this matter. My belief in rebuttal is that $233,000 per acre is appropriate, but that's $5.35 a square foot. For land, and of course, there is no excess land issue, it can't be subdivided, this is all used for the complex, which means that the complex on top decides the value on the bottom. It's too late, it's not gonna be developed as an apartment, it is what it is. That was my rebuttal, thank you. I don't know why there's this case at the end on imaginability, I get the faintest idea. There's the charitable record for St. Mont Center, just to make sure that they comply with the act. I don't think that's under dispute.
Okay, Mr. Valderrama, do you have any questions on the rebuttal?
Okay, Mr. Chair.
First of all, are you disputing the 4 acres for the school?
That's what I'm thinking. Seems like, I don't know if it's just an established school based on the Advanced Education Act, which was it?
No, it's not, that's 10 acres for an established school under the School Act or the Advanced
So it's a
Education.
seminary of learning.
Seminary of learning.
Akin to the Law Society and a whole bunch of other things like
Right,
that.
it's 4 acres.
So,
It's a,
Seminary of Learning.
does anyone have the act? I can point it out to you.
I don't, I have the act, it's in my other car.
Yeah, and the dog ate mine, but,
No, I took the vehicle with the all-weather tires.
yeah. I tried to sneak out of the house with my wife's car because she had it and it caught me and I had to take the car with the summer tires.
I need that back, that's my only copy.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna, Section 23(1)B, owned by, held in trust for, and used by a college or seminary of learning to a maximum exemption of 1.628 hectare.
Oh,
So that's the clause, section D.
23-1.
1D, yeah.
oh, thank you very much.
And that's been applied, that was, I think the same one applied to the St. Amant on Wall Street, and
And applied to a lot of professional
Right.
organizations
we
with.
got it applied to Southport Airport.
Oh, yeah.
They train pilots.
I'm just reading up on page 2 with regard to this institution or this property being college or seminary of learning.
Yeah, seminary of
On the
learning.
first paragraph, it says a comprehensive resource for Manitobans. It doesn't. Does it pertain to?
Oh, page ahead,
Seminary
two
learning?
pages, knowledge, translation, education.
So it's right here.
I think it's just common sense. I think we all know, everybody knows what St. Amant Center is all about. Parents with children that are differently able bring their children there for teaching. Some board them there, and that's what it does. The St. James location, which they opened on Wall Street, was for families on the west side of the city whose children could still live at home that they're brought there for the day.
If I read further, it also says we offer effective programs for children with autism and also for families who care for an individual.
I don't know if anyone knows a child who's been to Santa
I
Monica.
do.
And
Okay, so I'll let you make your own judgment then
And
as
in
to
my-
whether they teach or not.
Mr. Chair, in my opinion, I cannot make a 100% determination whether this is.
Okay, that's fine, I'm not gonna ask you to then. All right, do you have any questions of any other questions on the rebuttal?
I think the rebuttal is more on the exemption part, or yes, the liability, the taxation part, or, so yeah, I don't know, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
How long has the school been there?
Well, I have an original age of 1956. I think it, not sure if it was originally built for that or if it was moved into that usage. It's as long as I can remember, which my memory only goes back to the early 70s.
Okay. If you turn
Ask
to
why it
this,
doesn't go later.
Well, it stopped around 2012.
I thought you were gonna say it only goes back to last week.
on page 5, I'm trying to figure out what this school teaches. It appears to me, if you look at knowledge translation education, it's available to the education team. These presentations, workshops are not student-specific, but more general in nature. So is this teaching the education team or teaching teachers?
I think it's doing both. I think the center itself is teaching teachers, and my understanding of, I have an acquaintance whose child goes there and they get teaching if they exceed the capabilities of school boards.
Sorry. Here it says, those who live at River have access to a comprehensive range of supports and services, including a private year-round school.
What age?
Those aged 22 and under.
Which page is that?
It's the one that starts with complex care residents.
And which
It's the
paragraph?
third paragraph. It says those who live at River Road Place.
But then it kind of contradicts under the second paragraph. Our goal in providing enhanced consultative services is to work in collaboration with education teams to support students. So in other words, it's the individual education team members that are supporting the students. I don't know, it's.
Well, under the legislation, it doesn't matter as long as it's a semi-area of learning. If somebody's learning something, whether it's teaching the teachers or teaching the children.
Okay, no further questions.
Marlon, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
I'm going to, do you have any evidence of what portion of the,
No, it's, that would have been, you would have.
because the act talks about a maximum exemption.
Right, and it could be, right, I understand, and our fault entirely, but I don't have that.
Okay, I have no more questions, so that concludes this property. We'll move next door. I guess there's some more buildings on different parcels, so.
I think that's a piece of land, sorry, I gave that one back to you when I had it, just a quick look at it.
444 River Avenue. Okay, part of Saint Amant Center. So you can, and it's also the,
Yes, this is
Class and
attached
liability.
to it, and, no, on this particular property, I'm just gonna ask to confirm it. We appealed it because it was part of the complex, with the one condition that I asked you to look at the values per square foot on page 5, 65 cents a foot.
Okay, so can you read in your numbers then, Mr. Valderrama?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next one has a file number of 19-4798. It has a roll number of 08020976600. It is located at 444 River Road. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020 using reference date of April 1st, 2018. There are two assessments on this property totaling to $952,000. The first one is an institutional property which is taxable school exempt. Its value is $566,000. And the next one is a farm property which is a taxable liability, which is assessed at $386,000. So it has a building year built of 2014, a zoning of residential single-family dwelling medium, a land area of 773,387 square feet, a planned area of 2,397 square feet, and a gross floor area of 2,394 square feet. On page 3 is the aerial photo on top, and then at the bottom is the map of the subject property where it is located. On page 4 are some land sale comparables. They are all ranging from $3.63 up to $20.
Sorry, I'm asking to confirm it, do you want?
No, you don't have to go through.
Oh,
it. Just wanted you to read the numbers.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
All right, so then then you're declining to present evidence then, so. Any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Marlon, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, so that concludes today's.
Sure. I didn't give you a mathematical on the other one, and I want to know, do you want me to give you some numbers that would be roughly what, of course, stretching the rebuttal a bit.
I don't think we can do that.
Well, just like, what I'm trying to say here is, we're looking for a 40S based on, just on the land portions, at $233,000 per acre for either 4 acres or 6 acres, and same amount, $233,000 per acre on whatever land is left over. Thank you. And we're gonna follow up, and I'm gonna talk to Brian and to Clea about this, and find out the concept of 4 versus 6 and what's, how they do that. I always thought it was cumulative, or no, pick one or the other. Were you in the hearing yesterday? That
Yes.
big, long, stupid one with personal care homes?
I thought it was very wise.
Yeah. No, it was painful, but that was where, in that hearing, that I was surprised to see that they had, you know, a 10-acre and then a 2-acre, and they just added it all up. Because when we took in St. Paul's has, and, you know, remember Falconridge, there was a church in there, there was
Yeah.
excess land.
Like we give the full exemption for the church.
Right, and then they added to that, so at St. Paul's, we had the same thing where there's a chapel in there, and they exempted the building portion of the chapel, but not the land underneath it. And so, that's why I was kind of wondering, and I was hoping Ryan would be able to look into that for me, and I didn't ask you that.
Not much of that.
No, it's all my fault, don't worry about it.
Okay, we'll continue the hearing